beautiful people. It's just synchronistic app timing. So I was actually already planning to make this video, already had sort of a thought process going on, a subject and a topic that I felt needed to be discussed. So if you caught the first couple of little lines of that song that was actually playing, which was not planned, just happened to be, it was referring to fear and having a healthy fear of us. And that's what we're going to be talking about, fear. Fear is a mechanism of control, an age-old tactic. I think there are two age-old tactics that people really need to just comprehend and come to terms with. First one is divide and conquer. I think this is just age-old, it's just standard stuff. Should just be common knowledge. Unfortunately, people still don't see it, they still don't get it, and they still buy into it, and they still play the part that's being made for you to play. Divide and conquer, people. Come on, you got to start seeing that one. It's clear as day. It's old now. Come on, it's getting old, and it should be extinct. It's getting old and moldy and stale. It's boring. It's rubbish. But the main old tactic I want to talk about today is the use of fear. Also, it's an age-old tactic. It's been going on for God knows how long. Probably as long as people have been controlling, they've been using fear for the control. And you've got to start seeing that for what it is. Because we're not going to find that freedom and break free from this lunacy until we start seeing the lunacy for what it is, because fear has become a fashion now, you know. This scamdemic has really taken it to the next level. I think in a lot of ways it's made it helpful to actually identify the trying to find a nice term, I'm just going to say it, the morons, the idiots, the brainwashed, the people that just, I see people walking streets with masks on, and they're still wearing masks, and it's like we've moved on now, hopefully, you know, but people are still walking along. I'm just driving past one right now. Right now, somebody walking along with a mask on, and what's that about? Because to me that's just an advert. You wearing a mask now, all you're doing is highlighting that you've been watching a bit too much TV, that you're easily manipulated, that you're a bit gullible, that you just swallow the bullshit hook, line and sinker, and that's all it is. I think the mask, you know, I wasn't even going to talk about masks, but masks do highlight how this whole nonsense has been put into place, because it's documented that masks, they don't protect you. And even if you buy into any form of protection, the only argument there is that they're protecting others, not yourself. So if that's the case, what are those people walking along all by themselves doing? What's the thought process there? It's highlighting there is no thought process. What's going on there is that they're just following instructions without even questioning those instructions. So they are just blindly submitting. Yeah, that's a distraction, but just in the mask. But fear. I made in my previous video, I made a point about how the impending smart motorways, well, not even impending, they're here in a lot of ways now, and the smart grid, smart motorway is being put into place all around us, and it's done under the guise of for your safety, when in regards to the smart grid or the smart motorway, it should be so clear to see that when they say for your safety, what they mean is for your control. This motorway system telling you what to do every 2 minutes, it's for your control. That's how any safety that they so say are bringing about is going to be brought about, by controlling you, by telling you what to do, by giving you instructions on whatever aspects of your life they're trying to put this grid into effect. So I think we need to start seeing that for what it is. When you start hearing safety, change that word safety for control, because there's a lot of wordplay out there and a lot of manipulation takes place through the wordplay. I think if people heard control instead of safety, a lot of things would take on a different meaning. I think if the whole smart grid was advertised under the basis of for your control, people wouldn't accept it. It wouldn't be getting brought into. People wouldn't like it. I'm sure there's some idiots out there that still would, but most people wouldn't. Same with all the pandemic, plandemic, scamdemic bullshit. If every time you walked into a shop, instead of hearing your safety is our top priority, if it said your control is our top priority, you wouldn't like it. You'd start thinking, wait a minute, hey, that's a bit overbearing, isn't it? It's a bit over the top. I don't want to walk into a shop and have some hypnotic robot voice telling me that their top priority is to control me, because that's what they're telling you in a roundabout way. And you've got to start seeing that, people. So much of society is built on fear. You know, the whole scamdemic was built on fear of a associated virus, but do you know what it really was? What they did was create a fear of each other. They made people fear people. They made us fear each other. That's why I mentioned the divide and conquer as well as the fear mechanism, because what you've seen in the last 2 years is those two hand in hand being worked together. Divide and conquer 2.0. Now I'm just on my way to health club, and they got shut down. Health club, gym, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it health club. And you've got everyone going around sanitizing everything and spraying all that shit as if this for your safety. But what they're really suggesting through all that is this fear of each other, this hysteria that, oh my goodness, somebody touched this before me, I need to spray some toxic crap all over it to protect myself from other people. I think when you had all those slogans during the scamdemic saying stop the spread wasn't a virus, people. The spread was people. That's what we're trying to stop. So you've got to start seeing the fear and the control and the safety for what it really is. Start recognizing how often you're being bullied into accepting something that you would not otherwise. Like I said, it's an age-old tactic. You know, just look at the whole society you live in, the whole security thing that you buy into. You've got to start questioning what cost this security that you're being offered comes at. We say we're dealing with vampires here. Not literal vampires, but the metaphoric vampire, the parasitical entity that feeds off you. And they feed off you through your consent, because they are powerless otherwise. That's why I say the vampire needs the invitation. Never invite a vampire into your house, silly boy, it renders you powerless. That's what we're dealing with here. So to manipulate that consent, they have to trick you into making you believe that you need to invite them. And the flip side of that fear mechanism and that manipulation is actually very empowering. Because what you understand through that process is that if they go to such lengths to trick you into manipulating your mind state into believing that you need to empower them, what they are actually telling you really is that you have the power and that they have none. The only power they have is the power that you give them. So let's stop feeding these vampires. Let's stop inviting them in. Let's stop giving them our energy, our blood. Another metaphor of the vampire is that it has no reflection. And that is something I think also is quite apt in terms of understanding metaphorically. I think we need to start reflecting a bit more. If you're buying into these vampiric ideologies, maybe you have no reflection. You're not reflecting. You can't see yourself. So you need to take a look at yourself. Start asking, why am I buying into the nonsense? Why am I allowing this smart grid, out of control system to unfold all around me? Why am I giving up my safety for control? What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of it? Who am I afraid of? Why am I afraid of it? Because it runs deep. You know, because it's very hard to stay on track with these things because it interspreads into everything. But for example, who wants to pay taxes? I'm not going to go into tax, but why do you pay tax? You pay tax because you're scared that something will happen to you otherwise. Nobody wants to pay a tax. I mean, income tax for one. I think people buy it, we'll pay road tax because of the roads, you know. Got to pay this tax, I've got to pay VAT to keep the economy running, and no, feeding off you. All these different taxes are feeding off you. But you pay them through fear of not paying them. You pay your fines, you pay so many different ways to keep people off your back. You submit through fear. And you've got to start seeing the fear for what it is. Stop being scared, people. So this is for free too, and to be free, you need to break free of the fear first and foremost. That is the key to freedom. See the fear for what it is. Remember, safety. Another word, if somebody's offering you safety, are they offering you control? Are you surrendering control over yourself through fear? So I think if you just, something as simple as that, just start interchanging those terms, safety and control, particularly when it's being offered to you, you'll see what you're getting yourself into. And maybe you can have that reflection that will stop the vampires from taking control. Because that's what we're doing, people. Let's stop these vampires. Let's stop these parasites. Let's stop these unhinged maniacs that are seeking dominion over everything and everyone. Start seeing the fear for what it is. Look at the, climate change, all that nonsense. Fear of impending disaster. What changes are we bringing about as a consequence? Because once again, it's for your safety or for the Earth's safety. The premise there, but what they're really teaching you is that we the people, are the scourge of the Earth. We are like the pandemic. We, the people, are the danger. We are the threat to each other's existence. And therefore we have to be controlled, as does every aspect of our operation have to be controlled. But I think you'll find that a lot of these people that are preaching it will not be subjected to the same control that they want to subject you to. So start seeing it for what it is, people. Interchange safety with control, control with safety when it's being offered. And I think just something as simplistic as that can make a big difference to the way we operate and the way that we're operated. Because I don't feel I need to be controlled in every aspect of my life. I don't think that human beings are a threat to my own existence. I don't think that we live in a random system of chaos. I believe in harmony. As I said, you can get distracted and go off on so many different tangents, but the premise of my show 432 is harmony as opposed to contrived chaos and dysfunction. And harmony is what we are being distracted from. There is a harmony within the universe that is easy and plain to see if you see beyond all the bullshit, all the mind control, all the brainwashing, all the propaganda, all the fear that is constantly being uploaded to you for a reason, to gain control over you. So people, let's please start seeing the fear, start seeing the divide and the conquer, let's start seeing these two age-old tactics, because we can go into so many places of understanding and so many theories and so many ideas and ideologies and propaganda and so forth, but there should be a common agreement that whichever angle you're coming from, divide and conquer has always been in effect, and it still is in effect, and it's still taking effect. And the use of fear to manipulate us has always been in effect, and it's still very much in effect. And for all the time that they've been in effect, you'd think people would now, in this so-say age of information, be privy to that. Yet both tactics seem to be escalating, and I'm sorry, there is no excuse anymore for buying into it. There is no excuse whatsoever. So stop swallowing it, people. Like I said, start reflecting, because if you have no reflection, you're not just under the control of the vampires, you've been bitten, and maybe you too are a vampire or a zombie or something horrific to that extent. Those demonizers are demons. So stop falling into their trap, people. Be a vampire hunter like me. Anyway, peace and love, people. Sorry for the ranting, but it's just got to be done, because I'm not scared. I don't fear these. I know what I was going to swear. I'm not going to swear. I'm going to come in love. I don't fear these lunatics. We're taught that within these polarities there's opposites, and I think a lot of people believe that the opposite of love is hate, and in a lot of ways it is, but actually the opposite of love is fear, because hate is a manifestation of fear. In the great magnetism, the pushing and the pulling, love is something that brings together, that binds, and fear, which leads to hatred, is something that repels, that pushes apart. So take that on board, people. Let's operate in love instead of fear, love instead of hate. Let's be drawn by what we love rather than repelled by what we hate, because as I said, them vampires out there, they are feeding off of that hate. They are feeding off of your hate, and they are feeding off of your fear. And it's not necessary anymore. Anyway, I'll be back. Peace and love, people. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.